In this playlist, let us see the top 10 series it is actually. So let us see as part of this the first video, top 10 unsolved mysteries. Number 10, the Babushka lady. After the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, film footage that had been provided by a witness was carefully checked for clues to the killer's identity. Unexpectedly, the film also showed a woman standing on a grassy knoll wearing a brown overcoat and scarf. Because she looked like a Russian grandmother, Babushka, she was labeled the Babushka lady. She appeared to be filming the scene and she continued to do so even as the majority of the crowd fled after the shooting. She eventually walked away to the east of Elm Street where she disappeared from history forever. The FBI requested that the woman come forward, but she never did. Her true identity and perhaps her involvement in the crime are also unknown to this day. That's all about the Babushka lady, which was happened after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Number 9, the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer was a serial killer who was active in Northern California for 10 months in the late 1960s. He is believed to have killed at least 5 people and injured 2. After one of the killings, the police received a phone call from a man claiming to be the killer. He admitted to 2 previous killings. The man eventually sent a series of letters to the press that included ciphers that he claimed would lead to his identity. While the majority of the codes were broken, 18 letters remained unsolved. The ciphers did not help the police, and the identity of the killer has never been determined. The prime suspect, Arthur Lee Allen, was never convinced despite an enormous amount of circumstantial evidence against him. Number 8, Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is probably the most famous serial killer in history. He was active in later half of 1988 in London. He committed his crimes mostly in the poor Whitechapel area, and his victims were typically prostitutes. In some cases, the bodies of the victims were discovered only minutes after the Ripper had left the scene. Despite a large list of suspects, the police have never been able to uncover the identity of the notorious murderer. Number 7, the Voynich manuscript. The Voynich manuscript is a book written in the Middle Ages in an unknown language using an unknown alphabet system. Attempts have been made to interpret the document for over the 100 years, but there has not been a single breakthrough. The book includes illustrations of plants, some unknown to modern botanists, and astronomical information. It is possible that the book was the work of an alchemist who used codes to keep his discoveries private, but until the book is decoded, no one really knows for sure. Number 6, Comte de Saint Germain. This was a mystery man from the 18th century in muse who was skilled in music, art, and alchemy. His origin was unknown and he eventually disappeared without a trace. There were rumors that he had discovered an elixir of youth, and several people in recent years have claimed to be him. Some people also believe that he appeared through history as various historical figures such as Joseph, Plato, Roger, Bacon, and whose some claim he wrote the complete works of Shakespeare. Number 5. The Black Dahlia. 1947, the body of Elizabeth Short was discovered cut into two pieces in a parking lot in Los Angeles. The press dubbed the then unidentified woman the Black Dahlia after a movie playing called The Blue Dahlia. The investigation into Short murder was one of the largest in history of the city. However, despite this, the motivation and identity of the killer have never been uncovered. The mystery number 4, the Tao's hum. The Tao's hum is a low-pitched sound that can be heard in various parts of the world, but especially in the United States and Europe. It is described as sounding like a distant engine, and it is undetectable by microphones and other electronic monitoring equipment. It is most famous for its occurrence in Taos, New Mexico, the town from which it takes its name. In 1997, the United States Congress asked scientists and observers to find the source of the sound. They were unable to do so. Mystery number 3, the Mary Celesta. Mary Celesta was a 280-ton ship launched in Nova Scotia in 1860. When the ship was 10 years old, she was purchased from a salvage yard for $3,000 and put to use carrying alcohol from the United States to Genoa, Italy. The ship was eventually discovered floating in the middle of the Strait of Gibraltar, with no one on board and no sign of struggle. All documents except the captain's log, which gave no clue to the mystery, were missing. In 1973, two lifeboats containing 6 bodies and an American flag were found on the coast of Spain. The bodies were never identified, but there is some speculation that they may have been the members of Mary Celesta's crew. The mystery number 2, the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is a large area of ocean in the North Atlantic that has been the source of many plane and boat disappearances. A number of explanations, many are not particularly credible, have been offered for the mystery, which include bad weather, time lapse, and alien abductions. There is substantial documentation to show that many of the disappearances have been exaggerated, but even if those are excluded from the total count, the odds of vanishing are higher in the triangle than anywhere else. The mystery number 1, the Shroud of Turin. The Shroud of Turin is allegedly the burial shroud of Jesus Christ mentioned in John 26-7, which bears the image of crucified man. Despite many scientific investigations, no explanations exist for how the image could have been imprinted on the cloth. No attempts to replicate the image have been successful. Radiocarbon tests dated to the Middle Ages, but its existence have been known since at least the 4th century, and pollen and weave testing put it at the time of Jesus. Interestingly, both the shroud and another cloth appear to have been placed on the same man and contain traces of the same blood type AB, rare in Europeans in the Middle Ages but common in Middle Eastern people.